Hello, hello, hello. Let's see if we're live and working. It is not showing live on my Kick right now. Hold on one second. Come on. Hello? Hello? Come on. Alright, it's working. Hello? Alright. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've streamed from this computer. I have been gone for 6 weeks. I did London, Edinburgh, Scotland, Tromsø, Norway, Stockholm, Sweden, Dubai, the war zone, Rome, and then Dallas, back to California. So it's been a minute since I've streamed from the home computer, and I've been vacationing and doing some mining stuff. So I'm getting back into. I'm trying to stream every day. So we are on the verge of a global energy crisis. And most people are just going through their day. They have no idea what's about to come down the pipeline. Like, we are screwed. Like, if you're in the underclass right now, you're going to be in the permanent underclass because your ability to move up and down is going to go bye-bye very quickly. The whole system is about to change. And I was having a conversation with my dad, earlier today at lunch. He's a business guy. He's done very well. And, our family, we love talking politics and money. And I was just telling him, like, hey, this oil price is going to pop the everything bubble. And if you look back at 2008, what started the real estate collapse? Oil out of nowhere went to 150. There wasn't an oil crisis or anything. Oil just went on this crazy run to 150, and then things started breaking in the stock market. And then the real estate bubble collapsed, and all the leverage and bullshit ended. So you had that spike in oil, which collapsed all the old bullshit artificial economy. And you look back, I think it's the 1972 or 73 oil embargo, where the Middle East did an oil embargo for the U.S. supporting Israel or whatnot. This is completely different. Why? Because they still had all the capacity. They're like, hey, we're just not going to ship you. We are blowing each other's oil capacity and energy infrastructure out of the water. And you can't just build these mega oil facilities overnight. These facilities take years to make, and they're being destroyed in minutes. So, most rational people think mutually assured energy destruction. If you destroy our energy fields, we're going to destroy your energy fields. But the problem is you have an outlying factor, which is Israel, and they don't want this war to just end. They want Iran to be totally annihilated. And so the U.S. had not been striking the South Pars energy field, which is the largest energy infrastructure in Iran. Israel just goes out on their own, not consulting the United States, and bombs the shit out of it. So what does Iran do? They send missiles and they blow up the largest LNG export facility in the world in Qatar. And the strait is closed right now. And they also targeted Saudi and UAE energy facilities. Well, everyone knows the LNG facility in Qatar was annihilated. I can tell you firsthand, the Fujairah petrochemical plant, it's an oil export facility, got bombed. I was there. I have the videos. I was dumb. I tried making a TikTok just like talking about it and used that keyword. My TikTok went white. I've never seen anything like it. I got shadow banned. My account barely worked. I'm surprised I didn't get arrested or anything. But I wasn't stupid enough to share the videos or anything. But I do have videos of 2 of the oil tankers in the Fujairah on fire. I could also see ships in the Strait on fire. Like, the media is extremely censored right now. No one knows the extent of the damage. And the other crazy thing is the USS Gerald Ford is the most state-of-the-art aircraft carrier in the U.S. Navy. Just had a massive fire and is returning to port in Crete to get fixed. Supposedly, like, a couple people were injured, like, the ship's messed up. Now, the U.S. is saying this was a non-combat related fire, and the Iranians are saying they hit it with a missile. Are we ever going to know? I don't know. So we're not going to get a lot of information these days on who's winning, who's not. But I do know is as long as this war drags out and Iran takes the global economy with it, they are winning. So this energy infrastructure thing, like, people don't understand. You can't just go build a new LNG facility in the middle of the night. All this capacity is coming offline and the straits being closed. We're going to have a real energy crisis. I mean, the only thing we have to look back on was the oil embargo, which no energy infrastructure was targeted, and the price of oil quadrupled. The price of oil quadrupled during the 1970s oil embargo. What would happen with our bullshit world economy if oil quadrupled? It would be financial anarchy. And I watched a video of Andrew Tate today, and he hit the nail on the forehead today. Just everyone's already maxed out on their credit cards. The middle class and the lower class are already screwed. And you double the triple price of groceries. You know, the United States has an oil reserve, but if we got completely cut off, I mean, that's like a month's worth at that. All these other second, third world countries, they do not have backup reserves, refineries, all this stuff. Think like in El Salvador, you know, is sitting on an extra 50 million barrels of oil to support their economy? No. So, and you're already seeing lines in some of these Southeast Asian countries, and they're already rationing oil. Already. And, you know, in any industry, everyone's got their stock and their inventory. And same thing with oil. So it's the real prices and all the stuff that are happening. I mean, this war is 2 weeks old. These aren't going to hit for a couple of weeks until the existing oil and petroleum supplies start disappearing, and you're getting the new pricing. And Iran's game plan is just to create anarchy, disrupt business in the GCC, and make them pay. And so I was in Dubai. I've made a couple of videos. I made like one that was pretty viral, like 1 million plus views. Like I was on the patio when they were bombing and all that stuff. But I think the reason my video didn't get banned or I get arrested because there weren't missiles in the video. It just happened, and adrenaline's pumping. I'm making videos. Dubai is a ghost town. At the airport, just to check your bags, an hour and a half. Anyone that could get out of there is left. And they made a video. A lot of the like Forever Dubai people are like, the U.S. State Department is reducing flights out of Dubai because there's not enough demand. I signed up for that. They had no plan in place to evac Americans from Dubai. And that tells me the United States intelligence was a complete failure. They had no idea that Iran was going to attack Dubai and GCC countries with drones. The fact that they had nothing in place to get people out of those countries. So they had to make a whole separate website. I signed up for it. Not until 3 days after I was already returned back on, I just booked a commercial flight, did I get a message, an email saying that I had a flight from Dubai to Athens, and then I had to schedule my own flight back. Like, hey, that's awesome, like free flight out of there, but they didn't even get people back to the United States. Like, oh, we'll just get you over here, and then you got to figure it out. Do not depend on the U.S. government for anything if you need to get out of a crisis situation. So I felt safe in Dubai. The interceptors were working. Only that Friday night, I went outside. I heard them bomb Abu Dhabi, and then I kind of kept it low. Everyone's going about their business as normal, and then that night I was out on my patio on the 20th floor when they bombed the hotel in the Palm, and missiles were being intercepted right above me. That, I freaked out. I left my shit and I went out to the desert. But for the most part, they were intercepting all the missiles, and then the only time I felt unsafe again was when I was flying out because a drone had literally landed and blown up outside my terminal. And, when I was on that flight, I think they waited to the last second to fuel the jet fuel up on the plane because, if the drone hits the plane and you're full of jet fuel, you're all freaking going to burn alive and it's going to be horrific. So that 40 minutes from when they fueled the jet up and we took off and we got out of the area were the only 2 times I felt unsafe. But what you have to consider is the UAE was not expecting to get hit with missiles. So these interceptors, they don't have unlimited supply, and these interceptor missiles are expensive, and Iran can produce drones faster than they can probably produce these interceptors. And every GCC country is using these interceptors. So eventually these things are going to run out, and say 20% of these drones get through, it's going to be a disaster. Also, I was talking to my dad, he said he saw a report today that the UAE is concerned that, there's 50,000 Iranians, passport holders in the UAE, and that they're sleeper cells. And the UAE security is next level. They run that place like crazy. And from what I heard, they have a whole underground base under the city. So it's like a Disneyland where everything is above ground and all the things going on are below ground and you don't see. And you rarely see a police officer going around when you're in the UAE, but something happens, they're there instantly. So I think their intelligence can happen, but still 50,000 people, you don't know if some of these people are radicalized. And if they get hit with domestic terrorism, it's going to dramatically affect tourism. I mean, they're already cooked. Now, is Dubai done? If the war ends tomorrow, I think the UAE bounces back hard. But here's the problem. If the war ends tomorrow, nothing's been resolved, right? The regime's still in place, and this is just a bigger, badder war down the road. So I don't think it's going to end tomorrow. And Iran's very smart because you have a lot of Americans, foreigners in, Oman and Dubai and Kuwait and all these countries and Qatar and Doha. And it's a pressure point, and you're ruining their economies. And these guys are going to go back to Trump hey, we didn't sign up for this. But here's the problem. When you host another country's military base and intelligence agencies and you let them use that and they're attacking a neighboring country, you are fair game. That's, in my opinion, if you're housing an enemy force, your economy, your country's fair game. So Iran's applying max pressure. But it sounds like, for the most part, the U.S. has bombed all their production facilities of these drones. So the next big question is going to be, is Russia and China going to supply the Iranians with drones and missiles and hypersonics to keep fighting? Because obviously all their production is wiped out. Their oil facilities are wiped out. Their banking system's getting wiped out. So I had a conversation with a friend 2 days before the war, and I was like, look, you should get out of Iran and come to Dubai. And I didn't hear anything from them. And then war happened, and they had no internet, and they finally just reached out to me, and they're on FARC. They're on one of the islands, not Karg, where we're going to invade and the fight 2,500 Marines are going to. There's another really important island that person's on, and they're getting bombed every night. The airport's gone. So I asked them, is your banking working? And they said their bank still worked and the grocery store still had some food. But It's called SEPA Bank, which is the largest bank in Iran. The U.S. and Israel blew up the bank and all the servers. So that's like how they pay all the government employees in IRGC, and it doesn't work. This is why Bitcoin is so freaking important, because you could wake up one day and be in the middle of a war zone and the banks don't work. What are you going to use? $1,000 could save your life. $1,000 could get you hire a car to get out of the country and go to Armenia from Iran. Could save your life. And there's 93 million people in Iran, and guess what? Everyone wants to leave. So what are people going to be accepting that's worth, something? The currency's probably worthless. The banks aren't working. People are going to want Bitcoin, gold, silver, and other goods that they can trade with. But Bitcoin's one of those things. You can have $1 million in your pocket. No one can access it. You go anywhere and transport your wealth. Your country gets bombed and becomes worthless. Boom. You can leave. How many people are in Iran? They're millionaires on paper. They own real estate. They got stocks. They had all this money in the bank. It's all gone. Same thing in Ukraine. It could all be taken away like this. Bitcoin truly is like one of the few things you actually own. There's no counterparty risk. And going across borders in a war zone, you're going to have a backpack full of gold and silver. You don't think they're looking for stuff like that? Or your family valuables? So things are changing rapidly. Now, I hate to be a doomsdayer, but we are definitely heading towards a worst case scenario right now. And what does that mean? What is going to happen? Well, the real economy is on a head-on collision to the artificial economy. What is the artificial economy? Our grossly inflated real estate market, our grossly inflated stock market, manipulated assets on every front, gold, silver, any commodity you can think of. Now, oil is the one commodity you can manipulate the price a little, but oil needs to be used. It can only be manipulated for so long, and when there's shortages, what are you going to do? And it doesn't matter that the U.S. is one of the largest producers of oil. It's a global commodity and globally priced. I mean, theoretically, the U.S. could fix the rate of oil that we're selling it to the U.S. consumers, but I don't know how that would work. But all these second and third world countries are going to be cooked. When oil goes to 150 to 200, they're going to be screwed. And Russia's got to be over there laughing. But China's good. I don't know what's going to happen to China. China imports all of their oil. They have no domestic production. They're getting their oil from Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. Venezuela is ours now. Iran's about to be ours. And so they got to rely on Russia right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see what China does. Now, I also did see an article that China was doing a lot of flybys Taiwan. And you think about it, the U.S. is going to be very occupied right now. This would be a perfect time for China to take Taiwan. I bet on this poly market for that happening. The odds of it happening were 2 or 3%. They have to have gone up. And I want to put $1,000 on that. I think you can win 30 grand if you put $1,000 down or something crazy. I think there's a real possibility of that happening right now. And so you have the artificial economy meeting the real economy, right? Oil, you can't print oil. Oil input is inputted in everything. Plastics, packaging, transportation of the goods, all your freaking food, everything is based off of oil. So everything's going to go up. And we already have crazy inflation, right? So you're going to have a global uprising because the masses are already stretched thin and sucked dry. And you're talking, just if we had a 1970s style oil crisis, quadruple. Can you imagine if the price of groceries and food, just that quadruples, what does the world look like? All these developing countries, you're seeing the political person in power getting overthrown, dragged out. There's going to be so many disenfranchised people. You're going to have like the BLM COVID style riots everywhere. And a lot of governments will implement COVID style controls, right? You're already starting to see this. Stay at home and work. There's a huge viral video from San Diego, where I live, close to where I live, of all these people organizing a work from home at the beach. You're going to see companies do work from home, governments pushing government employees, don't drive to work from home, don't travel, all that same stuff. So the travel, if you want to short some stocks and all that stuff right now, short the travel industry, short housing, because all these hotels and short the airlines. If the price of airline tickets double, who's gonna be flying? If it's like $1,000 a girl, like the amount of people flying and going on vacations, doing all these Airbnbs are gonna go bye-bye. But the other problem with shorting stuff is how far is the government going to go? Is the government going to say, hey, no one's got to pay their mortgage again, just like COVID, because it's a crisis, and then they start sending stimmy checks out? Can you imagine if the price of oil quadruples and then they're sending stimmy checks out for everyone to buy oil again? The inflation that's going to hit is going to be insane. Ooh. So, it's going to be the next big calamity. And I don't think this war is going to end up where anyone thinks it's going to end up. When I was there in southern Iran, when I was in Dubai, there was a 4.2 magnitude earthquake. Okay, there's a lot of earthquakes in Iran. 2 days later, a 4.1 magnitude earthquake. A little suspicious. 1 kiloton nuclear test underground, what does that result in? A 4.0 magnitude earthquake. So I think Iran has a nuke. Also, they interviewed one of the top guys on Iran, and he said they have enough nuclear material to make 16 nukes. But I don't think they have the ability to deliver it via ICBM. But who's not to say they just don't load up a bunch of hypersonics with nuclear material and just hit Israel with the dirty bomb? Then what happens? Then Israel responds with a nuke on Tehran. It's not the end of the world, but Middle East is cooked. All that oil infrastructure is gone. Imagine what the price of Dubai real estate will be if a nuke goes off in the Middle East. You think it's bad now? And I got actually this Pakistani news guy wants to interview me about Dubai real estate. I'm like, I'm not a Dubai real estate expert. I just made a couple of videos just from what I know. And the market's the global real estate market's in a bubble, but the Dubai market is in its own freaking category. And there's a guy on TikTok, and he was documenting his whole journey, and what he was doing was taking yearly leases at apartments, furnishing the apartment, and then Airbnb it out. And his goal was to get to 100. I don't know how far the guy got, but imagine that guy, and he's a foreigner. Imagine that guy right now. He's got 100 units under a year lease, and he has probably zero income right now. Maybe he had one or two people that did long-term Airbnbs or like a month or two. But you have to figure we're going into the third week of this. Either everyone's canceled or there's no, I don't know how far people book out Airbnbs. I usually do a week before. It has to be zero. And in Dubai, if you owe someone money, you can't leave the country. It's over a certain amount, and they check it. And if you want to drive your car across the border to Oman, the car has to be paid for. So I saw like a tweet on X where like someone was like, "Hey, like I hope all those real estate bros like have left the country before those leases are due, because yeah." I have another buddy. He had he had an apartment at the Burj that ended on the 11th. He didn't renew it. He's going back to London. He's gone. All the 90% of the residents are foreigners, and then you have to have money to be there. So you have all these people with money in a war zone. Everybody's gonna leave. Everyone has means. You're telling me some guy with $5 million that's got some young kids is gonna stay and they got like a 0.5% chance that some debris is gonna fall this guy and put his kids in danger? No, he's gonna go back to London, Hong Kong, Singapore, Switzerland. Everybody's gonna leave. That means there's no tourism, there's no money, there's no hotel stays. They're screwed. Even if the war ends tomorrow, no one's coming back for the meantime. And the problem is that Iranians are targeting the airport. Like, who wants to take that risk? And the fuel storage tanks at Dubai International Airport got completely blown up. They had to cancel every flight. So imagine, I saw a video like someone's coming from Ireland, they're almost here, and then the plane had to go all the way back. I mean, who wants to... I mean, how poor do you gotta be? You're like, hey, I got this super cheap ticket. No one wants to do that. And a bunch of the major airlines have already canceled airfare, like routes to Dubai International completely until summer. So, it's unfortunate. I'm not a Dubai hater. I like Dubai. I do business in Dubai. A lot of great people in Dubai. And the people that live there love Dubai. That's why you see this, like, fight for Dubai. But I'm just a realist. Like, hey, I don't want to be in somewhere where I'm getting missile alerts in the middle of the night and hearing explosions. You know, you aren't getting work done. I had fun. Like, the adrenaline was going, felt alive, but it's not a place, you got to sit down and work. You want to be right now. And things could get a lot worse. And I totally think we're heading towards someone's going to drop a nuclear weapon. And I had bet on that on Polymarket when it was like really low. And I think out of public outcry, they delisted that bet on the nuclear bomb going off. So I'm just curious. I want to look up hotel prices and I want to look up hotel prices in Dubai right now. I gotta readjust all this stuff. Bear with me. Got that going. Let's go to Expedia. I mean, I was paying a fortune when I was in Dubai. Let's say for 1, 2, 3 nights next week. Let's see. 2 travelers. All right. Let's see here. Holy shit. $40 a night for the Rove? Wow. I stayed here once. I mean, I would say this is usually 120. But you have to understand, right now is prime season in Dubai. Hold on, why is this? JW Marriott. Okay, this is funny. Like, I'm on Expedia. There's a war going on, and this is what I always thought. We have 5 left at this price. They have that no matter what. You know how they're like, oh, we have 1 room left? Like, that is always bullshit. So you're telling me the JW Marriott Marquis Hotel in Dubai has got 5 hotel rooms left in Dubai right now? I think they got a little bit more than 5 rooms left. $135 a night. Let's find like a nice hotel. I mean, Millennium Palace, $82. I mean, I would say that's only like $40 off. I've stayed there. All right, here we go. Here's Atlantis, $446. I would say this was $800 a night. Five Palm, $144. I mean, they're pretty cheap, but yeah, the row $40 is really cheap. But I think they need to come down more. I mean, all these hotels, obviously everyone's like late to react. I mean, these are $38. Jesus. $38. I mean, this hotel's not nice and it's not in the middle of nowhere. $38. Like, I'm from California. You can't even stay at a motel for less than $200 here. So $38 is pretty crazy. JW Marriott 157. I wonder what like the Four Seasons is. Oh, here we go. No, Four Seasons is, I stayed there. $426 a night. Still pretty expensive. But these smaller hotels, I mean, they're just... There's all Dubai is freaking hotels, and I think the government's making most of their money because when you book these hotels, the taxes and stuff are pretty crazy. Wow. I wonder what the Burj Al Arab is after it got hit with a drone. That world's only like 7-star hotel. Burj Al Arab. Let's see. This could be the one time we go stay at the Burj Al Arab. I mean, if you're a single guy and you don't give a fuck, go to book a trip to Dubai. If you work remote and not worried about getting stranded. Huh. The Burj Al Arab's not showing up on here. Maybe it's not even on Expedia. Wait, is this it? Oh. It's... Ooh. It's $1,900 a night. So it'd be almost $7,000 to stay there. Wow. Look at this duplex. Holy shit. I saw some guy made a TikTok and stayed here. Wow. I mean, it's not even like I just don't know if I'd ever spend that kind of money like on a hotel room. It's like, it's nice, but it's like you're not gonna spend that much time in the room, and this hotel's kind of not next to anything. Like maybe if like you're going to the Maldives and you have your own villa like on the water, like this is cool. So yeah, prices are down crazy. Let's look at a flight to Dubai right now. Not that $1,500 for one way on Emirates. There's not a lot of flights though. Wow, $3,200, actually pretty expensive. I just don't think they're operating a lot of flights right now. How cooked is Emirates? How many freaking planes do they have? How many employees do they have? That airport was making how much money with just all the connections and refueling and people coming in and out? Think about all the people that just sell gas to all the planes that are coming and working for those companies that are like pretty much ground to a halt. It is just incredible the economic damage that Iran has done on Dubai and psychologically in just a very short period of time. And I also answer this, like, are people getting paid to make good videos about Dubai? No, most people, like, you watch, they live there. Their homes are there. Their businesses are there. They don't want people not to come, so they want to tout that it's good. And also, like, it was safe on the ground, but the interceptors run out. I don't want to stay to find out, right? Let's check out the news. Missile fragments hit Temple Mount. Saudis warn 180. I'm curious, what's the highest price of oil ever? The highest known price of oil ever recorded was in July 2008 when West Texas Intermediate surged to $147 a barrel. 147.27. Wow. We got a long way to go. Wait, current price of oil. 98. It's gonna go a lot higher. Wow. We've never had a situation where all the largest oil producers are just destroying each other's energy infrastructure. We're gonna see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We are going to see. That just go straight up. This is 2022 is one. Oh, I remember when I was filling up my car, I was like, everyone's gonna be getting a Tesla. Saudis warn of 180. So this would be 30 plus more dollars than the highest ever. We have the bubble is so big. 180 would collapse real estate globally. Collapse real estate. And real estate's really the cornerstone of the American economy. Like, we don't make anything. We're a service economy. Everyone's largest investment's their home. And, the stock market can crash, go down 30, 40%. People aren't living off of that. That's extra money. When the houses go down 50%, that's when shit's the fan in the U.S. Because everything's tied to real estate. Everyone's borrowing against their home. Everyone's flipping. Everyone's got some gambit in the real estate market. And the prices make absolutely no sense. Like, my dad was just showing me a track home in like Irvine, like totally tricked out inside and stuff. Not even on an acre or anything like that. It was like $8 or $9 million. It was obscene. Not on the ocean. I don't even know who's pricing these things. These people. And the problem is this bubble's gone on for so long in real estate that the land to buy is so expensive that then you have to charge whatever. And then you're buying the house that you're flipping is so expensive that when it goes, I would say like the majority of the people in the last 5 to 6 years are just going to be fucking upside down. And like where I'm from, everyone is in real estate. Like, that's what all anyone does is they buy and flip homes. They're in commercial, industrial real estate. That's like what everyone does where I'm from. So the markets like Southern California, Vegas, Miami, the Dubais. I mean, it's going to be awful. It's going to be an incredible buying opportunity if, like, depends where. I think, I hate to be a doomsdayer, but I think the war of Ukraine and Russia is going to expand and engulf Europe. The whole Middle East is going to be on fire. You're probably going to have a nuke go off. Africa just doesn't have the infrastructure. China is going to be expanding in Asia. They're going to start taking Taiwan and exerting their power. The U.S. is going to be collapsing in on itself. Central America is kind of a basket. South America is going to be the ticket. And Argentina, Buenos Aires is one of the most epic cities, and they don't have a real estate bubble because the inflation's been at 110%, so you can't get a loan. So there's almost no debt in the real estate market. You have to pay cash for your real estate. Tehran threatens tourism sites. Pentagon preps ground invasion. Bro, how? Also, I'm an American. I didn't vote for this war. Congress is supposed to approve wars, but there's some bullshit thing that Dick Cheney and Bush did where you got 90 days before you have to declare war. And then Trump also just asked for $200 billion in funding for this war. And you look at that with all the fraud in Minneapolis and all the fraud in California. Why do we even pay taxes? What's the fucking point? Why don't we just end the IRS and taxes and we just print the money the good old-fashioned way? And then everyone just pays, in inflation, and obviously the poor and middle class pay more. We should just end the whole tax gambit. $200 billion for a war Congress didn't approve. And my parents are the biggest Trump people, and I just told them last night, I was like, look, Trump screwed up with this. I think he's compromised. There's no incentive for us to do this. This is going to ruin his legacy. He thinks this is all going to be this clean-cut war when Iran starts sending Americans back in body bags, missing limbs, all this shit. It's not going to be fun anymore. And I think Iran's going to hit us in the United States. I think they are going to have sleeper cells and do an October 6th and just hit malls, trains, and just draw it out, hit every other day, do this, and just instill absolute fear and, make us pay the price. And it's not going to be this clean war. It's going to be, a dirty war. Like, look at the Chechen. They're doing all the terrorism. I mean, it was just an awful, awful thing. And unfortunately, America is such an open society, it's hard to protect. Like, China can control what citizens do, who comes in and out. The U.S. is open borders. Anyone can get in here. Anyone can buy a gun. We're very open. It's going to be hard to protect against terrorism. And Iran, okay, like, look at O.J. Simpson, right? He made it a white-black thing to get off, right? And gain support and manipulate it that way. You don't think the Iranians are going to make this a Muslim thing versus non-Muslim thing? The invaders versus, us? Like, they're going to totally radicalize all these people. And the other thing is, majority of people in most countries, right? You want to go to work, have a family, do good. But, you're in Iran right now, 93 million people. Most of the people aren't radicalized. They don't care about Israel, all this bullshit. But the guy, working middle class guy just got his house blown up. Wife and kids are dead. His business doesn't exist anymore. The whole economy's collapsed. We are radicalizing 90 plus million people. And, I know some Iranians, they want the regime gone. They're pro-US, but what it's going to take for that to happen is your whole country is going to be destroyed. And you guys are all going to be refugees. You're going to have no economy. Look at Iraq. Like, Saddam, yeah, he wasn't a great guy. 1 million Iraqis died. The whole country got obliterated. Libya, Gaddafi, crazy guy. They had a great economy. People got married. They got freaking money for homes, all kinds of good stuff like that. Now they have open slave markets in Libya. When the U.S. comes, it does not make your country better. It makes it 10x worse. So Trump is going to be in a lot of trouble when you start having some sleeper cells go off in the U.S. and we're going to have no one else to blame but ourselves. And whatever good Trump did will all be reversed if we're all in this massive War III, shortages on oil, and everyone's life's miserable. And oil is one of those things that can make everyone's lives globally miserable. Totally miserable. If price of oil goes to, like the Saudis say, 180, no one's going to be having a good time. That's for sure. So like right here. United cuts 5% of flights as fuel prices soar. This is COVID 2.0. Flights are going to get canceled. I fly for free, so this is going to be great because there's going to be no one buying these seats because the price of fuel is going to double. The price of these tickets is going to be double. No one's going to be going to the Dominican Republic or Jamaica and staying at these hotels. The rich will. The rich will probably get richer from this. All the big money, they had insider information. This was probably happening weeks ago. But the middle class people, family doing their 2 weeks vacation of the year, not happening. I'm laughing at this thing right here. Thousands swooned over MAGA Dream Girl. She's AI. Some of these AI accounts are getting too good. And there are a lot of more blackmail accounts. So like these married guys or guys with girlfriends will DM these accounts and they'll be like, hey, send me $5,000 in Bitcoin or I'm going to freaking tell your wife or post this DM. So don't get tricked out there. And any message you send anywhere on an electronic device is captured. So I saw a video from John Kiriakou, and he's like, every message you send, you should send it like it could be on the front page of the New York Times, and like that because it's all can be accessed. So don't embarrass yourself. I feel bad for teens now because I didn't have an iPhone or any of that shit in high school, and it's like all these kids are getting themselves in a lot of trouble down the road. Also, there's a lot of fake news on these TSA lines. I was in Dallas midday. It was the shortest customs line I had. And TSA, I checked back in the day, it was 0 line. Ooh, Putin making moves. Putin offers to stop sharing intel with Iran if USA cuts off Ukraine. Ooh. We're going to have to pick on that one. Oh, let's see. Incredible Iranian missiles. Oh, is this? Oh, wow. The other thing is the news coming out of Israel is so censored. I haven't seen any missile buildings collapse. All I've seen is some AI BS. I have to click on this headline. Incredible story of the cartel Olympics. What? Wait. Oh, I don't think you guys can see this. I gotta make all this shit smaller. The incredible story of the cartel Olympics. A Mexican athlete said he was kidnapped and forced to compete for his life in a tournament of gangs, but Was he actually playing a different game? Wow. Cartels run Mexico, that's for sure. All right, I want to look at Zero Hedge. See, I mean, if you go to Drudge, whatever the opposite, whatever they say the opposite's happening, and then Zero Hedge is like one of the few places you can get news, and then I go to X. Everything else is state-run media. Everything else is state-run media. Gold suffers worst week in 43 years as crude prices. How is gold down? Gold should be skyrocketing. We're going into a war. We're going into hyperinflation. Gold should be $10,000. It's manipulated. This is why Bitcoin's the last free market. Bitcoin is your escape valve. Gold and silver, until the economy collapses, will be manipulated down. When the manipulation breaks, watch the fuck out. Gold could be $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. Silver could be a couple $1,000s. Who knows? Because there's no price discovery. But you're not going to know until it really collapses. But before that happens, you're going to want to make money and like move around, and that's going to be Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going to $1 million. Bitcoin is going to $1 million. Why? Fiat currency has no bottom. They're going to print money. When people can't afford the fuel and gas, they're going to send out stimmy checks. Also, whatever happened to our tax refund or tariff refund checks Trump was supposed to give us? Just, I guess we forget about it. We never get the money. It's always the companies and corporations that are getting all this free handout money. People never get shit. This is what I'm talking about. Qatar LNG repairs to take up to 5 years and cost $20 billion in lost revenue, cripple Chinese supply. I told you, these energy facilities and energy infrastructures cannot be built overnight. You're talking years to bring this production back online. And we're talking 2 weeks of this war and how much infrastructure is just obliterated. Pretty much what's going to happen also to get these boats going through is the U.S. government's going to guarantee the insurance on these boats. Yeah, I mean, we could have a situation very shortly where China takes Taiwan. We start funding them in the kind of guerrilla against China. China says, hey, we're not exporting goods to the U.S. and we're launching a gold-backed currency. Economic Pearl Harbor. And the dollar could it could fall faster than anyone could imagine. The store shelves go bare. We run out of supplies. It could happen so fast it could make your head spin, and we're living on borrowed time right now. And this should have happened years ago, but the U.S. has been able to, with the world reserve currency, we've been able to manipulate this shit out for so long that it's crazy. And unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of places to hide when the dollar goes down. Everyone's using the dollar. That's the global financial system. So the global economic order collapsing will bring on a dark ages. That's what brought on the original dark ages, was the Roman Empire collapse, and that was their currency, their government, and just dissolved in a very short period of time, creating chaos. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to have a Dark Ages 2.0 when the dollar collapses. And, most 99% of people have normalcy bias. Like, the people that are going to survive and thrive are going to be Bitcoin, gold, silver people. And more important than that is where you're at. And I know people are living, like me in California, all your friends and family. But when it starts going, I think my game plan is to be in Argentina. Maybe outside the city, little farm in outside of Buenos Aires or something, or some Patagonia, where people are a little bit more self-reliant, and have resilience, but maybe even Bolivia, because they're already pretty much living off the land there. You could buy like an apartment in Bolivia for like 30 grand. I kid you not. Oh, it is just insane that the gold price is down. Price of gold. Shit. Shit. I don't even check the price of gold and silver. I mean, I've been buying silver since $14. Gold since, I don't know, $1,300-$1,400 or something. No, it's not even represented on this chart I've been buying for so long. I don't plan on selling. It's an insurance policy for me and my family. If shit hits the fan, buy us the necessaries, take it out of town or food or whatnot. But the problem is, if it gets that bad where we're using gold, I mean, I think goods would be more important. Ammo, freeze-dried food, would be... I'd rather have someone trade me freeze-dried food for my gold and some ammo and guns than, have gold. And then I think we'll get universal basic income. Also, this AI... we're heading into the perfect storm, right? You're gonna have oil prices going up, like Facebook, all these companies are laying off people right now. Also, if you understand, companies use this as an excuse to also get rid of people. And companies use this as an excuse to raise prices. So with our other business, our plastic supplier, they just raised the price instantly. And these guys have massive warehouses where they're stocking. They have at least 3 months supply of this stuff. But they're like, oh, oil price is up. They raise it 10% when the new product hasn't even come in. So companies are greedy. So they're going to use this as an excuse to raise prices. And that's how, when one of these things happen, it allows all these companies to have an excuse to roll out all these price increases. Man, I'm worried. I mean, fast food's nothing's cheap anymore. I don't know how people are going to eat. And, pretty much the whole country is going to be on food stamps. Let's see what's on X. What are my bookmarks? Oh, and I watched this video on Nick Fuentes on hypergamy. So hypergamy is where 80% of women want the top 20% of men. And it's totally true. And a lot of it's because of social media, right? Where women now have access to people anywhere in the world. So you could be some small town girl from the Midwest, but you're a 10. And then, some millionaire in Miami's DMing you and then flying you out. So the men at the top of the food chain now have access to women all over the world. And women also see that these men are living these certain lifestyles and they're all going for the top guys. If they did the study and it was what do women want? They want someone over 6'2", making 6 figures with a college education. If you do the math on that, it's 5% of men or something crazy, less than that. So they're all competing for this sliver of guys, and most of the guys, if you're a girl, if you lock down that guy earlier, in college, yeah, but most of these guys that wait to get married and then they make that money and they're in that position, they have women throwing themselves at them. They're not trying to get locked up. So if you do meet that guy, he's probably just going to use you and he's got 6 other girlfriends. So you got to be careful because you can find that guy, but he's probably, you're part of the shuffle, right? So you got to my recommendation for the girls out there is you need to like lock down and get a guy to marry you like in your early 20s that you meet in college or something that has like pre-IPO potential. Because once they get big, the options for men is getting, crazy. And then you also have this whole issue of, the bottom 80% of men, which aren't getting any women, and it's creating this very weird, thing in the U.S. right now. And the other thing, like, I want to talk about is like more women are graduating college than men. Women's earnings are going like way up. Women are holding more positions of power. Like women are like kicking guys' ass like the last couple of years, right? So you have all these very like corporate successful women, and then they have worked their asses off and have gotten to a certain level, and they expect the same level or better. And there's just not enough guys that are making that level or above them. And then they're all going for the few guys that are. And then, all these girls are like in their early 30s, good looking, great jobs, work their ass off, and they're single. And then I guess eventually like hit 33 or whatever, and then you just got to like settle for whatever. But the internet and social media have really changed this whole dynamic. And another thing I'll state is like with these dating apps, women and men think there's these unlimited options. When in reality, there's not. It's just people playing with each other. I mean, you can find people on there, but I'll put it this way. Like, you go into a grocery store, and say the grocery store has 100 different types of jelly. You're just going to get overwhelmed, and then you're going to leave, right? But if you go to the store, and it's like a Trader Joe's, and they got 3 types of jelly, the odds of you picking that one jelly are going to go up. And I think a lot of people are holding out or not getting these serious relationships because they think there's all these options. I can get on this dating app when, there's really not. So, yeah, the whole dating thing is getting crazy, and the internet and all this stuff is really changing everything right now. This is AI. I think this is fake. Due to the Chinese economic downturn, perhaps for easy money, these girls turn into escorts. I've seen a bunch of these videos, but I also saw one, it was like AI. Rocca Verde. Have you seen Worldview? Pretty crazy how much info you can see with open source AI. I don't know what Worldview is. What's Worldview? I'm trying to get my Claude bot going and figure that out. Dubai Terminal. I mean, this is pretty much what I had to go through. But I mean, this is Dubai Terminal every day for 2 weeks of everyone just freaking leaving. I mean, in another 2 weeks, like, who's going to be left there? 90% expats. Everyone's leaving. This is Dubai International Airport. This video appears to show a 2020 fire at a market in Ajman, UAE, not Dubai International Airport. So that's fake news? I mean, there's no one funnier than Tim Dillon right now.
And I think, unfortunately, and I thought about it, and I think, unfortunately, what I've come to is that in order to kind of reverse the tide and get people to remember what is important, we have to have a world war where we eliminate 3.5 billion people. I don't think that there's another way to do it. When I look at the rise of identity politics and how troubling that is, the only course of action that I could think of would be a world war that would eliminate half the population in a period of 24 months. How many people live on Earth? 7.5 billion? That needs to be whacked in half. Population data of Earth, 8.3 billion people. 4 billion of those people need to die in the next 24 months. And I don't say this lightly, and I don't say this to try to be a negative, a Debbie Downer, whatever. I'm saying quite accurately, and I think this has been decided, I don't think I'm breaking news, 4 billion people will have to be killed over the next 24 months so that we can finally start to get back to what matters here. And I think that's the only way to do it. I've thought about it in different ways.
Yeah, he's fine. Also, like, this guy got arrested in Dubai.
Exit here.
You cannot exit here. This one here. But not here.
No, nothing happened.
Nothing happens.
No, that's what you see, like,
Yeah, but my car is stuck.
okay, notice.
No, it's in the bottom.
That's why, yeah, here no, here it's closed now. If you want to put the parking to the car, that's
Okay, but why is the main entrance closed?
It's something that we want. Just wait.
Something happened.
Ah, okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, no one wants.
That's the Fairmont that got attacked, and this dude is a British guy. He got arrested. This was the Dubai airport 2 days ago that caused all the flights to be canceled. I mean, that's not good. Oh, this is the Emirates flight I was talking about, where it went all the way to Dubai and then came back. So they had the whole flight and didn't get there. Who the hell is going to Dubai right now? But I mean, there are a lot of accounts that, I mean, all they're doing is posting Dubai is over. I mean, there's a lot of haters. This is that Karg Island the Marines are gonna go to. I mean, I can't imagine what the Iranians are going through, because we had like little drones being intercepted and like 1 or 2 bombs going off, and it was crazy. Imagine like the U.S. and Israeli munitions and everything's hitting. It's just gotta be. I don't know how anyone's sleeping there. Wow. Yeah, man, I want to be working. Vietnam is telling people to work from home. The Philippines and Pakistan are floating 4-day work weeks. Denmark's energy ministers begging citizens not to drive. This was a video from San Diego. This was like a work meetup, though. Where? Let's type in fuel shortages and see if anything comes up. Thailand is starting to experience fuel shortages.
I have never seen something like this before. Sales are much higher than usual. The manager of the gas station has limited trucks to 5,000 baht, $154 per fill, and jerry cans to 50 litres.
Laos.
而且也不限加，随便加，所有加油站已经关掉了。
I mean, these are probably very preliminary. I think in another 2 weeks, you're gonna, some of these third world countries, you'll start seeing let's see, like 1973 oil embargo. No gas. Huge lines. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Can you imagine if gas stations didn't have gas? Well, like, when I live in Southern California, you gotta drive everywhere. Like, I mean, it's 15, 20 minutes just for me to go to the grocery store from where I'm at right now. Wow. Hold on, let me check my Polymarket. Dude, I lost some. I gotta check this. Oh, there's a whole thing on Iran. Karg Island no longer under Iranian control by... Hold on. Let's look at my... I made all these bets like a long time ago, and I don't even know what I have in my portfolio. Wait, hold on. Alright. Will China invade Taiwan by June 30th, 2026? I'm down 25%. You think that would be up right now, right? Will China blockade Taiwan by June 30th? Down 31%. These should be going up. Will Trump acquire Greenland? Oh, fuck. I forgot to close this one out. $72. I'm down 21%. China Taiwan military clock cross $50. But this China one, 273 to 143 $300. I think I need to double down on this. Poon out as president by December. That's actually, I didn't put any money on that. Will China invade Taiwan by March 31st? Oh, fuck. I only put $55 down. That ends 2 weeks. Honestly, I'm leaving that bet. Like, at this point, I'm down 80%, and there's actually a chance that happens. U.S. strikes. Dude, I lost my fucking ass on China. U.S. strike on Mexico by March 31st. Dude, I bet I lost like $1,000 on that one. Delcy Rodriguez out as Venezuela 95%. I'm fucked on that one. So I had a nuclear weapon detonation by June 30th, March 31st, and then December something. And because it was so unpopular, they closed me out. So I think that's why I have 200 in cash, is because they closed me out. Can you see your other trades? Hold on, I gotta let the dogs out real quick. Who's barking? Alright. What's U.S. forces enter Iran by December? 68%? Whoa. U.S. Iran ceasefire will crude hit. See, the problem with Clark Island no longer under Iranian control. April 30th. So that would be next month. I mean, shit, that's probably going to happen in a week. Oh, fuck, I gotta put my,